And good evening, welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. My guest this evening is Sharon Rosenblatt with I Support the Girls. Sharon, welcome. How are you?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to
Thank
meet
you
you.
for having me.
Thanks for coming down. How you been?
Oh, it's wonderful.
Excellent.
Freezing, but
Yeah. It's a little cold in New England tonight, but that's okay. We're gonna get through it and hopefully get to spring in a couple weeks and warmer weather. So tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about the organization.
So I Support the Girls is a nonprofit, and we provide donations of bras and menstrual hygiene products to homeless and low-income women in the area. My organization is based in Connecticut, but we're actually international. So when I say homeless and low income, we actually work with a wide variety of women who may be displaced. We work with refugees providing donations, cancer survivors, people who are fleeing natural disasters, and it's really quite a diverse population. So we have over 50 affiliates just in the United States and about half a dozen across the world too.
Wow, very cool. So how did the organization get started?
So that's actually a funny story. Our founder, Dana Marlowe, she is based in the Washington, D.C. area, and about just over 3 years ago, she was just trying hard to lose weight, and when she lost about, I think, 35 to 40 pounds, she realized her clothes were not fitting, and especially her bras. And she's busy. She works for an IT consulting company, and her husband made her take the afternoon off and said, just go buy new bras. These look ridiculous. They're not fitting at all. So when she went to the store to get sized, she was realizing that the bras that she had currently were still in wonderful condition, just not the right size. Right. She was wondering, what can I do with these? So she's in the changing room and just talking to herself out loud. It's like, what can I do with these bras? And the woman who's helping size her said, you know what? Homeless women need bras. And it's these 4 words. It just like hit her in the face. What do you mean homeless women need bras? Nobody ever thinks, when you have that big bag that gets donated to Goodwill or to the Salvation Army, you don't often think about undergarments, or they're a little taboo, even if it's just, something perfectly functional. So she reached out to a homeless shelter in the Washington, D.C. area and asked them if they could use some used but still in wonderful condition bras, and they were enthusiastic. It's a huge demand. Nobody ever donates, and they added, we could really use some menstrual products too. We could really use some maxi pads. We have a lot of women coming in, and people are bringing food. People are bringing other toiletries, but we just don't have anything to give to these women. So she put a post up on Facebook. This was sometime in 2015, and said she was going to collect for 2 weeks and then bring everything down to the shelter. And the response was overwhelming. The post was viral. People were sharing, and then she just brought a couple thousand things down to the Washington, D.C. shelter. Thought it was going to be one and done, and then the Washington Post heard about it, and it started growing. And then we got a lot of good publicity because it's really an easy ask. Right. A lot of women and girls have bras that they're not wearing. There could be a weight change, a disease, whatever, and your sizing changes, and people want to donate something, and they're not really single-use items when you think about it. So it's just been growing ever since. Very unprecedented.
Now, why specifically donate bras and feminine hygiene products?
So a lot of the products that we collect aren't really line items in budgets for organizations. There's a lot of wonderful charities that will collect coats or food items, but they don't really think about feminine hygiene products. Are seen as luxury items, unfortunately, by some parts of society. In other states across the country, not Connecticut, feminine hygiene products still have a sales tax on them, whereas other medical products and health needs do not. So they can be priced out of a lot of women's budgets when you're deciding if you're in a low-income situation or you're income-strapped. Should I buy a new bra even if this one isn't fitting, or should I pay my rent? Should I buy food? Should I pay for my prescriptions? They're often thrown on the back burner, but really, bras and hygiene products are essential health items. That they help women stand taller, stand straighter. They really do support them, and it's really a need that isn't seen. These are things that are worn under the clothes, but they're very fundamental for women.
So who does your organization partner with to provide donations to?
So across the United States, we've worked with a number of organizations, and I can start nationally and then focus on in Connecticut. We have given products to women who are coming at the border, who may be working with like Customs and Border Control to figure out their situation. And while they're there, we provide hygiene products to them. A lot of disaster relief for some of the hurricanes. We've donated in Puerto Rico, for instance, women fleeing the wildfires in California recently. We've given to Red Cross shelters there. Organizations in Chicago for their school systems there. A lot of nurses' offices, even if girls come in and they need hygiene products, the nurses' offices don't have them stocked there. So girls are, if they don't have a sweatshirt to tie around their waist, if there's a surprise at school, oftentimes girls will just leave home and, leave school to go home. Right. And, that's a missed day of school. So we've donated there to prisons. A lot of homeless shelters across the country. We have, as I was saying earlier, about 50 affiliates across the country. So people give where they see the need locally. So in Connecticut, we're definitely a small state, but the need is very huge. It's just a lot of organizations, Iris here in New Haven, Love 146 in New Haven, even in the Middlesex County area, we've donated to ABC Women's Care in Middletown, Fairfield County, Bridgeport, we've given to Dress for Success, Malta House in Norwalk, even Hartford, the women and children, something with the government there, they've been great. And as far up as Eastern Connecticut, we worked with a food pantry there to help stock their shelves with hygiene products. But it's just been a tremendous need. We reach out to these organizations and ask if they need at their clothing donations, and they're saying, my goodness, yes. Women come in here all the time with the same bra they've been wearing for 5 years, or they have a family, and there's a bunch of young girls who are going in between sizes, so we can help them out there too.
Now, as far as how do you guys collect, like if somebody wanted to donate, how would they?
So that's pretty interesting. I'm pretty active about it on Facebook.
Okay.
So I've been getting a lot of donations just interpersonally from some of my friends and family, but we have a lot of organizations who just say, you know what, I want to collect. So Yale New Haven Hospital did a collection for us. They made us one of their summer projects, and then they must have had thousands of products for us in just the span of 1 month. We've had even some retailers reach out and just say, we have all of this overstock, or we've gotten a bunch of bras and we don't know what to do with them, from our own clothing donations. Can we give them to you, and can you distribute them? So it's a very easy ask. Every time I tell anybody about this, especially women, they're like, my goodness, I have 3 bras that I would just love to donate. And I tell them, that'd be great. Throw in a box of tampons. I'd love to take them off your hands.
There you go. And you guys obviously get donations from all over the country.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of wonderful corporate sponsors too, who just want to make the donation, whether they're bra makers, feminine hygiene product suppliers. So we are very lucky that it's a very easy ask for us, and it's not necessarily the most costly donation, but the items, they fly off the shelf. So just as quickly as we get them, I try to donate them. Because it's a revolving door, it's a constant need. It's not as if you donate 1 box of hygiene products and then you're done for the rest of your life. Women need these monthly.
I was going to say, what's the turnaround time from the time a donation comes in to the time it gets dispersed?
Oh my goodness. I work with a wonderful team of volunteers too across the state, but oftentimes, I always think about the Red Cross, right? When you donate blood through their app and then they tell you, however long your donation goes, it went to some hospital in Bridgeport, say, or it's saving lives in Hartford. I wish I could provide a way to track people's bras.
Yeah, exactly.
But we've had organizations who will give to us, and then within a week, we find new homes for things. But it's really also how well these organizations can accommodate our donations. A lot of places, space is a premium, so we've given to Brian's Angels Shelter in Bristol, and they're a wonderful organization. They're one of the few organizations in Bristol that's providing services for homeless people, and the need is great, they just don't have the space because they're dealing with food donations and coat donations, so it's, they'd love to take more, the need is there, but it's how much can they accommodate. But sometimes it can go quickly, or other times when I get, a few thousand bras at a time, we try to check them too, make sure everything's in good condition, it's clean, what can we do with it there? But I'm never sitting on anything too long. There's always places for them to go.
So tell us about the organization in Bristol that you just mentioned.
So Brian's Angels is actually, it's just wonderful. Their founder, Pat Stebbins, who's just a remarkable woman. I get a little emotional when I think of her. Her son, died a number of years ago from an overdose, and he had been homeless off and on for the years, and she's a wonderful, supportive mother, and it was really hard for her when she realized as a legacy what she could give, in her son's memory, instead of just internalizing it or grieving it her own way. She has a warming and a cooling station in Bristol, which was how I found out about her. I'd seen it advertised on a Facebook post, and they just provide lunches and meals, just supplies. It's not like a homeless shelter per se. It's more, drop in, get a meal, cool down, heat up, depending on the weather, and we can help you out, what we have on hand. So if you need a sweatshirt, if you need a pair of socks, if you need toothpaste, she gets all of her donations that way. So when I found out about it, I just had to give. I realize a lot of people don't realize what they need until somebody reminds them about it. Nobody really thinks about bras, and I must have given her a couple hundred bras, and she was just wonderful to work with. So she's just a great lady. You meet just all sorts of people donating, and the need is, it's everybody who wears bras. It comes kind of from a different place, whether you're, like refugees, right, at Iris that I've worked with, or you could just be homeless. It's very transitory, but your situation, if you're in need of hygiene products, doesn't change necessarily if there's a hurricane. You're not going to stop your period for 3 months until you suddenly have running water. So it's been a tremendous amount of empathy too that I've been dealing with.
Now, what exactly is Iris?
They are a refugee resettlement organization based in New Haven.
Okay.
So they work with families who are coming here often getting resettled as refugees and help them find housing and employment, really gets them set up teaching English, providing cars. So they deal with a lot of individuals and families, but their budgets are strapped, and the family's budgets are strapped, and Iris can only help them for a certain amount of time before their services run out and they work with another family. So they really kind of fast track them into assimilating into the New Haven area. And we like to, when you're moving into a new place and you don't have anything on your cupboards, this is kind of just a little something extra that you may not be able to get from somewhere else.
Cool. Would you mind sticking around for another segment?
Yes, definitely.
We'll be right back.
Son, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
And welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show, sitting here with Sharon Rosenblatt with I Support the Girls. Welcome back.
Hi, thanks.
Hey, thanks. No problem. So we were talking a little bit about in the first segment about the organization. What else do you want to tell us about the organization? What exactly you guys do donation-wise? And
I think one of the biggest takeaways is, and this is one of the, I guess, lasting conversations I have with people, and they're always like, why bras? Don't, if I give a can of soup, isn't that enough? And
no,
there's really, it's an interesting ask, because a lot of times, I know I touched on this earlier, bras are seen as a luxury item. They're like, well, why do homeless women need bras? And I try not to get stung immediately, because I have 30 bras in my trunk right now that I just feel like I always have something in my car, and then I can just say sometimes where I randomly donate, where all of a sudden I just like to always be prepared.
Exactly.
The thing about bras is they're not seen typically, and for a lot of women, I've said imagine if you had to go to work without a bra, or you had to work out without a bra, and all of a sudden they're like, wow, this is very necessary, this is crucial. And for people who are homeless or low income, if they're interviewing for a new job, it's really a dignity issue. if something doesn't fit right, if it's rubbing, if it's chafing, you're not going to feel well
No.
that whole day. It's going to influence your mood and how you carry yourself. So
Exactly.
I'm not saying, our bras will get somebody a job. It's not going to get somebody into housing, but it's one less thing that you have to worry about.
Correct.
And that can mean a difference, for somebody. If we're donating menstrual products, it could be a girl gets to go to school that next day and just doesn't have to worry about her period.
Exactly.
And for us, it's just, we know there are a myriad of reasons why people are homeless. And we can't fix that. Like, that's not what this organization does. We would love to, but we're just kind of loudly talking about a need that for a long time people just don't want to talk about. I mean, we've worked with a number of organizations, and they say, we want to donate to you, but just don't put tampons anywhere. We don't want to talk about menstruation. That's icky, that's gross, and we just can't avoid that. It's a big need. It's a health need. It's a dignity need, self-esteem. So for us, when we kind of challenge people to realize how important the need is, that's really when all of a sudden the donation's like, I get it. I couldn't imagine not having this for a day. And then suddenly, if you're in a strange place, if you're displaced because your house was destroyed from a wildfire, having something that fits well, just can make a world of difference. Having your period accommodated for the next couple of months can make things just a little bit easier.
Yeah, right.
So, but there was one organization that, this was so random, I was out for dinner and there happened to be a fundraiser going on. They had an open mic night and they were sending supplies to Puerto Rico, and I just happened to have a gigantic box that I'd collected earlier in that week of menstrual products, probably about 2 dozen just individually, wrapped packages, and they were collecting money and supplies, and it was just so funny. I was like, here you go, and they had me on stage and everything. So I always think about it too. Like for some women, like a period can come out of nowhere, and you're just totally surprised, and you're not prepared. And I just kind of I never know when I can find an organization that I can partner with. So I've kind of known, for having this car full of supplies. I run a lot too. I try to do a lot of road races around the state, and it's been a fun way to see Connecticut. And my friends are always asking me, what's the next race you're going to be at? And so I'll get sometimes, 30, 40, 50 bras, people will collect from their friends and family and then bring them to me. So it's the need is always there, but the people around the state are so generous too.
They are.
So it's just a constant exchange. It's wonderful.
Exactly. So if somebody wants to donate to your organization, how can they go ahead and do so?
So there's a number of ways. You can reach out to, we have on Facebook, if you go search for I Support the Girls Connecticut, you can personally connect to us that way. If you just go to isupportthegirls.org, I think the website may have been on the screen. We accept money donations. We have a P.O. box in the Washington, D.C. area that you can mail either financial donations to or product donations to as well. They're just, I think there's a CrowdRise link if you want to donate financially online as well, or if you're not in the Connecticut area, or if you have friends and family outside of state who want to donate but keep their donations local. We have on our website, we have all of our national affiliates, so you can reach out to them directly. We like to keep the donations local, so it's like Connecticut women giving to Connecticut women, or Chicago women, or Louisville women giving locally. But I'm always around too. I have a couple of volunteers across the state who help me with donations, but either I share my address to have them mailed to me, or if I'm nearby. I've met some wonderful women, even here, where was I? I met somebody at the Madison Surf Club. I happened to be nearby, and she was out with some girlfriends, and we happened to be in the same place at the same time, so I met her at the bar there, and she gave me her bras, or I'll meet people in parking lots. It's just funny, everybody's got these, and it sounds a little sketchy, but it's really just women interfacing with women and giving products that way. So it can be as informal as that, or again, we're a 501(c) organization too. I know it sounds a little like this exchange system, but no, we're very savvy. We've handled donations of, my goodness, I think our founder once had to deal with like 20,000 bras that had to be offloaded on pallets in a warehouse in New Jersey, and she managed to make that happen. And we had to have all these partner organizations come and said, if you want, a couple hundred bras, you have to show up here. But the forklifts were gone by 5 that day, and we got, it was at least 20,000. It was a crazy day I heard about.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, quite a lot of products.
Wow.
It was a logistical quagmire, and they only
Pretty impressive.
found out the date a couple of days in advance, and the the vans and the warehouse, but it ended up being just wonderful. We are very lucky where we have a lot of support, a lot of volunteers across the country who, help us out in different ways, whether it's just taking the organizations or even, dealing with all the paperwork, the PR, the press, because we're lucky, you people like to talk to us like you, so it's wonderful.
And like you said before, the most important is getting the word out on the organization.
Right. Yeah, and we're always looking for donations. That's
Right.
a reason why I'm here, but it's also the conversation too. It's really changing people's minds about homeless women and the needs, because everybody has their own perceptions on homelessness, and
Right.
when you're driving, if you see people collecting money in the streets, but for a lot of homeless women, they're kind of seen as the invisible population. Many of them are just couch surfing. Some of them are fleeing domestic violence, so they're staying with friends, with family, and they may be out of work. And trying to make ends meet with their, whether they're individual or with kids, and it's hard because you don't necessarily see them. They're not always visiting shelters. They might be kind of hiding for a little bit. So we've worked with organizations. What's it in Hartford? My Sister's Place, and they're wonderful. So they provide supportive housing and resources for women who are fleeing domestic violence, and just having a bra that's new with tags. It's something that's a new way to start your life. Is a nice donation.
Tell us a little bit more about My Sister's Place.
What are they? So I know very peripherally about what they do.
That's fine.
I don't want to speak with any credibility. I know they're a wonderful organization, and they're based in Connecticut, although I'm pretty sure there are others across the country, and they work with women and children to kind of just rehouse them, provide them cell phones, new housing, so that they can kind of like move forward and pass legal resources for any abusive spouses, how to get out of dangerous situations. So they'll find them housing. There's a housing facility up in Hartford, I believe, too. Okay. But they also have a thrift store. And that's like a really empowering way too. So people will donate to My Sister's Place, and it's like any thrift store, like Goodwill, but the money from the proceeds there will help fundraise the organization.
Now, what else do you want to tell us about the organization?
So one of the neat things about I Support the Girls too is our nationwide affiliates, and I kind of want to touch that. So I donate where I am in Connecticut here, but. Right. Our affiliates give, we have somebody in Indianapolis, right, who has met somebody in the prison population there, and she's worked, just from her own personal experience to suddenly give, thousands of products to women in prisons there. It's a little tricky for women to, for lack of a better word, to get hygiene products up there. They can be priced out of commissary. They're not getting enough. They're not getting the products that they need. And this was something that this woman just made her pet project and said, I really want to give to this population. And there's no obligation too for me to, to donate to the same types of organizations that our affiliate in Denver is doing, or Florida. And that's one of the things that I do like about this organization, is we have the autonomy to give where we see the need immediately. And of course, we all help each other out. When the hurricanes were going on, of course, we gave to Puerto Rico. We've been helping out too in California.
Now, what populations are served by I Support the Girls?
So we give to, homelessness really touches on a lot of areas. So when people think of homelessness, they may think of somebody who's just might not be able to make rent and is on the street, but really the low income is an issue too. So we don't necessarily give to people just in shelters. That's kind of, it's a huge population that we give to, but it's really just people who don't have stable housing at the moment. So whether they're refugees and they're coming from another country, if there's a disaster that they're fleeing and they may not be able to return home from a while, we give to them. I think I mentioned earlier, Love 146, children who are whether they're in therapy or getting rehoused here in Connecticut, children victims of sex trafficking. We've donated to them, and I know they have these wonderful backpacks that they give to the kids who are kind of just coming back, into a sense of normalcy. And for some of the girls, they may not have the products that they need. So it's really just women who may not have the means, and children, to have those products. So anybody who's we just want to make it so that it's one less thing that they have to worry about in their current situation.
Now, how can I help?
Well, conversations like this are great. It's especially refreshing, not to be totally sexist, to have this conversation
okay.
with a man who doesn't cringe and, just keep spreading the word. There's nothing gross about a period. This is something that half the population deals with for the majority of their lives. And really just having open and honest conversations to smash the stigmas, get rid of taboos. Around these topic areas, and realizing that bras aren't indulgent items. These are something that women need just as any other supportive clothing, a coat in winter, proper footwear. So just really thinking about it like that, and these are just items that people need. So keep having these conversations and look in your drawers and donate your old bras.
So I guess where can I donate and what can I donate?
So we will take any bras as long as they're in good condition. If they're clean, we know we get a lot of used products. If it's still in good condition, there's no wires poking out, no threads coming out, the clasps all work. And any menstrual product donations, if you open a box, for instance, say, and you're like, you know what, I don't want this brand, we'll take them as long as they're still individually wrapped.
Okay.
We on occasion, we'll take bathing suits, if especially old athletic suits. We've worked with LEAP in New Haven, and they're a wonderful organization that provides after-school programming for kids, and they were working on something with a swim team. So we had a lot of people provide their old racing suits so that girls there could have them. But we'll take sports bras, any bra that's still in good condition. But we don't take toiletries. We've had some wonderful organizations give us like a bunch of soaps and toothbrushes, but we'll just donate them to other providers. But that's not really what we're focused on. We're really just the bras and the menstrual products. And again, we have a very active social media presence. If you look for I Support the Girls on Facebook, and then I have another page for I Support the Girls Connecticut, you can see some of the local donations. But from there you can find our Twitter and Instagram. But just reach out. You can always find us.
Cool. Sharon Rosenblatt from I Support the Girls, thanks for coming on.
Thank
and we'll
you
see
so
you
much.
soon.
Thanks so much for having me.
No problem. On behalf of Sharon Rosenblatt, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks, good night, and we'll see you next time.